Now, I'm Stefan Grundmann. I'm professor in the law department at the European University Institute in Florence, the UI. And I have been asked to tell you a little bit about European company law. Now, European company law, well, if you compare it to US corporate law or to German company law, you would say it's not really a fully fledged area of the law. It doesn't tell you all you need to set up a company in Europe or to run a company in Europe. Rather, it is a set of interventions which makes it possible with national company laws to act in Europe on a level playing field. That means that you are basically not affected by the diversity of different company laws. Now, what is the real scope of that European company law and of those regulatory interventions? You have to imagine basically an area between Catania and Uppsala, 3,000 kilometers from Sicily to Sweden, or the other way around. And at the time when it was set up, perhaps a bit less, up to Kiel in Germany, but nevertheless. And you have creditors in that area, you have potential shareholders or investors in that area, and of course you have those companies which may perhaps want to grow from Germany to all of Europe, or from Sicily to all of Europe. And actually it is really the objective to render this possible. Now, I give you a set of indications now, and if you want to know more about that, then you read the first two chapters of the book I have written on the area, on European company law, and there are the references to read about everything, 10, 20 pages or so. Now, it started out somehow with the idea that creditor protection is important. You have a company in Sicily and you have a creditor in Germany, for instance. And the creditor, of course, wants to know whether he can do a contract with such a company or invest in such a company, or so. And that structured already basically the subject matter. Actually, European company law is only about companies limited by shares, and the reason being, basically, in other companies, the person with whom you are contracting is liable himself or herself, whereas in a company limited by shares, of course, only the company and not the representative, not the board member is liable personally, and therefore you needed to know whether this company is really there, whether it's well represented, so whether it becomes your debtor. And that is basically what the first directive, the first European company law directive really tells you. And the scheme is very typical. Why is it so typical? Basically, it leaves the national company laws intact, representation, who may have representation, when is a company valid, etc., or when is it void. But at the same time, it tells you, I install an information regime for the creditors. Basically, whatever is written in the company's register is true. So if you want to challenge it, you have to change it. You have to change it in the register, but the creditors can rely basically on that register. Somehow the same story with shareholders who want to invest. I give you an example in a minute about the takeover directive to tell you how shareholders are protected. Another major directive of the last years is how shareholders should vote across borders, a major thing if, of course, you have different company laws in different in different countries, then you want to ensure their representation on a shareholders meeting. The third objective, besides protecting creditors and protecting shareholders, is to give a level playing field for companies which are national at the first moment to become truly European. So to have cross-border mergers of different countries, or of having a truly European company. And again, it is basically a European company in the sense that a few rules are really European and the rest is again national. So if one wants to say it in one word, European company law is about European companies living in a certain amount of unity and a lot of diversity, and that diversity not hindering them to act in a truly European way.